Proposed rule from the IRS under fire. The agency would give charitable organizations the option to collect the Social Security numbers of some of their donors. Now the Tea Party fights back, encouraging conservatives to push back against the IRS proposed regulations. Joining me now is former Republican presidential candidate Herman Cain. Sir, good to have you on the program. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
What's your thought on this IRS now proposal?
It starts out as an option, and then it becomes a legal mandatory law. It is what I call the first stages of communism. They don't need people's Social Security numbers, and all it is intended to do is to intimidate organizations that are not-for-profit organizations, and it is intended to intimidate people's free speech. That's all it is. It is a terrible rule, and I'm glad that the Tea Party groups are fighting back.
Why is nobody stopping the IRS and all of these games? I mean, the last several years, we know what's been going on with the IRS as they've targeted conservatives, and now this, with people's Social Security numbers to intimidate.
Because the IRS has mastered the art of stonewall. When Lois Lerner takes the Fifth Amendment, that's stonewalling. When they are asked for information and they won't provide it freely, that's stonewalling. And when you have an administration that supports the stonewalling, that's why the IRS continues to, one, get away with the stuff in the past that they haven't resolved yet, and they come up with new stupid rules to impose upon people's freedom.
Unbelievable.
Stonewalling.
Yep,
that's
stonewalling.
why it is unbelievable, and that's why they get away with it.
All right, let's talk about the president's speech last night, Herman Cain. Obama called on Congress to pass new gun control legislation and authorize the continued use of U.S. military force in the Middle East. Here's a bit of Obama last night.
If Congress believes, as I do, that we are at war with ISIL, it should go ahead and vote to authorize the continued use of military force against these terrorists. For over a year, I have ordered our military to take thousands of airstrikes against ISIL targets. I think it's time for Congress to vote to demonstrate that the American people are united and committed to this fight.
Wow, I had to chuckle there when he said, if Congress believes the way I do. That is funny. What did you think of that, Mr. Cain?
Nothing new. Two words, nothing new. Secondly, the American people don't believe as the president believes. He is delusional in thinking that the American people believes as he believes. Secondly, they may have been hidden targets, but were they the right targets? The latest reports demonstrate that they may not have been the right targets. So the president is delusional in thinking that. Overall, his speech and all of the call for gun control, nothing new. And more gun control laws, as you know, will not get rid of the terror threat that we have in this country or in other parts of the world.
Yeah, in fact, the point has been made over and over again, Morgan, that
yes.
The toughest gun laws in the country are in California, actually, Morgan.
Yeah, I think, as we said earlier, I mean, this is a president who has said ever since he came up in the national stage that he has mocked and made fun of people who are gun owners. He said people cling to their guns and to their religion, and I think I'm
yes.
kind of proud to be one of those people.
Hey, Mr. Cain, so with where we are right now, knowing that terrorists are actually within our country, how do we defend ourselves? How do we target these terrorists? How do we get rid of these terrorists before they strike again?
I'm going to be talking about a very outside-the-box idea on my radio show today that I know I don't have time to go into, but let me summarize it. You fight terror with terror. You fight the unknown with the unknown. And right now, this president wants to let all of the terrorists in this country know what we're doing. They want the president and the administration want to take away guns from law-abiding citizens. No, that is not the approach that we ought to be taking. And I encourage people to either go to my website, hermancain.com, and read all about it, or listen to my radio show, which will be after your show, Maria.
So, Herman, are you advocating, though, it's Dagen Mcdowell, by the way, for
yes.
more troops to fight ISIS in Syria and Iraq? And I'm talking about like a level that you've heard from Senator Lindsey Graham, like 10,000 or so. That's kind of one of the critical things that you did not hear the president talking about.
In fact, he said no more troops.
He said no more troops.
He said no more troops.
Right. We know that the president says no more troops. I don't have enough intelligence from the intelligence community or the military leaders to be able to say whether or not that's the right decision or how many. So I can't answer that question because we're at a disadvantage. We're only being spoon-fed what the President, his administration, and some people in the media want us to know.
Yeah.
Here's what I do know. We can do more at home other than controlling people's Second Amendment rights. That's going in absolutely the wrong direction.
You know, Mr. Cain, this is Morgan. I have a question for you. As much as the president talks about gun control, he mentioned it from the Oval Office last night. I have a theory. I don't think that he's actually serious about doing anything for gun control over the next year of his presidency. I think that he wants to poke the Republicans in the eye. He wants to make a point. He wants to grandstand. But if he was serious about policy changes, he would be working with the Republican-controlled House and Senate to get something done instead of poking them in the eye. Do you think he's going to get anything done on gun control in the next year?
No, and it's because of the reasons that you stated. In addition to the other fact is he's just trying to appease the gun control activists. And secondly, the reason that nothing's going to get done is because he would never sign a clean bill. There are some loopholes. I admit that, and most people admit that. But the reason that the Republicans push back is that Congress doesn't know what a clean bill looks like. If they were to give him a bill with specific things to do, and he wouldn't sign it because it doesn't go far enough. So the other problem is the fact that the Republicans aren't going to give him a bill loaded up with a lot of other stuff that has nothing to do with the loopholes that they would probably agree with.
Mr. Cain, thank you so much for your insights this morning. We so appreciate it. We'll see you soon, sir, and we'll be listening to your radio show after Mornings with Maria.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Herman. We'll see you soon. Herman Cain there. It's not